Hello, I'm Nari McDiarmid for miningnews.net, and I'd like to welcome Alistair Stephens, Chief Executive of Lindian Resources. And Alistair, great to be speaking with you today from Malawi, where you've got what's been described as the king of rare earth projects, but obviously that's not all that's in your portfolio. How do you describe Lindian to anyone new to the company?
Well, first of all, yeah, I nicknamed Kangankunde the king before we really discovered that the fact that this is probably a billion-ton resource. Our first program identified 260 million tons of it. Two deep drill holes identifying that extends much deeper, and it's like a pipe that just keeps going. So this is genuinely a massive, it's a giant. And the nickname of the king, I think, is appropriate for it. Yes, bauxite and Guinea, they're also some fantastic assets. There's a billion tonnes all up between three projects in Guinea. Importantly, they're high grade and they're low deleterious elements. So there's increasing prices in bauxite at the moment. There's been a lot of interest on participation for offtakes and other different type of models within the bauxite. So Lindian is positioned with two fantastic assets. One in the Guinea, high grade, low deleterious element, good quality material, close to infrastructure. And then we've got Kangankunde, one of the greatest rare earth projects in the world, a giant in the process of development. That's a great value proposition for shareholders and investors.
Well, you've mentioned the size of Kangankunde there, Alistair, with an exploration target that's quite substantial. So other than that, what are the highlights of the rare earths project to your mind?
The other unique thing about other than size is and grade. So we're talking about, we're drilling in infill drilling at the moment in a zone which is going 3.5% TREO. And that's what we're expecting sort of be the average grade going into the plant. And this is the monazite mineral, which is non-radioactive, extraordinarily unique within the rare earth space, that we have got a completely non-radioactive product, including a non-reactive concentrate. That's a distinct value proposition. The process technique we've designed, we can use gravity separation. So that's a chemical-free process. It's just using water and gravity separators and high-intensity magnets to actually recover the monazite concentrate for sale. So it's high grade. It's good recovery. It's a great concentrate grade at the back end. We're using no chemicals. It's a non-radioactive product. And we can see a path where we can be genuinely carbon neutral, net zero carbon, because we can eventually access power from a hydroelectric grid. There's potential of converting into an electric mobile fleet. So the value proposition, other than the value of rare earths, comes into a whole ESG portfolio that Kangankunde can position itself in an industry which is about abatement of carbon strategies. What a stunningly value proposition that is. So, and the other thing about the rare earth market is there's a lot of focus on the EVs at the moment. Let's not forget that wind turbine and construction and installation is on track because it's basically funded by big business and governments. And the other part of the market is white goods, where rare earths go into general things like you've got your phones and computers and all kinds of applications. And that's still a growing market as well. So there is a good future for rare earths. It's having an aberration at the moment, and I'd say it's a great time to construct.
Well, in terms of driving the value proposition forward, Alistair, can you elaborate a little on the company's management team?
Yeah, so we've got a board that's experienced in project development. Jack Fazio, for example, has built several plants, so he's director of our construction team. We've got some other talent in there. We've Alwyn Vorster, who came from Hastings, who's got rare earth experience and capital development experience there. So it's a good team. In terms of a management team, we've got Jeff Chapman, who's been looking after resource development. We've got Mark Stephens, who's doing our metallurgical test work, and it's been extremely successful. Rico Brits in Johannesburg, which is doing all our engineering design. And a good gentleman here in Malawi called Trevor Hewer, who's doing our civil works engineering, and a new member of the team who's looking after now our mining and mining contracting works, and that's David Clark. All led by Simwe Kabunga, who's a major shareholder, a major entrepreneur, and a great leader for this company and this project.
Well, looking ahead throughout 2024, Alistair, with two such large projects, what's the focus for this calendar year?
So very shortly, this quarter, we'll be announcing the feasibility study for Kangankunde. So we've got tenders for construction, we've got indicated resource due, we've got a mine design coming, All that culminates into a feasibility study, hopefully end of March. It might slip over early, just after Easter, into early April, but it's sometime in that period that we'll be announcing that feasibility, leading then into construction. So Kangankunde is in the phase this year of going construction, and it'll probably tip over into next year as well before we get into commissioning and production. Bauxite, there's a number of models around bauxite, and there's a number of parties really interested between offtakes, partnerships, different models. I don't want to preempt what's going on there, but there's a lot of interest in bauxite. And while the rest of the market's sort of having a rest and a pause, and there's some backwardation of prices in a lot of commodities, interesting enough, prices of bauxite are going up. They've gone from 60 to 70, and they're tipping on to $80 a tonne now. But that's the standard for about 45% grade material with a 3% SiO2. Remember, most of our projects there are 45% Al2O3 and 2% silica, and gual, which can go up to, when it's screened, to 60% alumina. So there's a lot of interest for these high quality, low deleterious element bauxite assets in Guinea. So something will happen there. And I don't want to preempt what a business structure looks on that, whether it's an offtake or a development partnership or something. There's lots of interest, and there's lots of models on the table, and there's lots of optionality there.
Well, lots going on, Alistair. So in a nutshell, in your words, what are the investment highlights of Lindian Resources?
So if you take Guinea, we've got 1 billion tonnes. If you were to mine that at 20 million tonnes per annum, there's a longevity of mine life in all those assets there. So this is about a long-term mining value proposition project. Same with Kangankunde. With 260 million tonnes per annum, our first plant design is something like 400 to 450,000 tonne per annum. So we're looking at generations of supply in this project. It is what I call an enabler of the Western world to have a reliable baseload supply of high quality, non-radioactive monazite that'll go into development programs of downstream manufacturing and processing. And it will enable other rare earth projects to access other solvent extraction and separation and cracking plants outside China. So it's really a project that's capable of introducing balance into the rare earth supply chain and longevity. So they're two value propositions: long life, high quality bauxite assets, long life, high quality rare earth projects.
Well, best of luck with a very big year ahead, Alistair. Thanks very much for taking the time to speak today.
My pleasure.